Hi everyone, we're here with Peter Collins from Smeg. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to learn a little bit more about the history of Smeg and also discuss some of the benefits of the appliances that we use in our Arli homes that are also a standard inclusion. So I'll hand it over to you, Pete, to give us a little bit of a brief history on Smeg.
Yep. Okay. Smeg has been in Australia now for around 35, 40 years. Originally started in 1948. Smeg is an Italian company, which a lot of people don't understand or don't realise. Smeg is not a name, so to speak. It's an acronym for the company. Smalteria Metallurgy Emiliano Guastalla, which basically talks about the history of what Smeg was. So over 150 years ago, Smeg started out as a metal foundry company, doing a lot of metal work and enamelling. And in 1948, they made their first ever oven, the Elizabeth oven, which was an upright oven. From then, they're doing what they're doing today. They're making full kitchen appliances, wall ovens, induction cooktops and so forth.
Wonderful. And you can tell us a little bit about the architects and their design thinking?
With our ovens, there's a lot of design and thought goes into our ovens. A lot of companies will just build an oven to suit. We actually have architects, qualified architects, who do all our design work. So there is a reason for everything. Lineal, Guido Canali, he's very world famous architect. He does all our design works.
Fantastic.
Designed our first classic range. He designed our showroom and factory in Italy. And now he's done our latest ovens, the Dolce Stil Novo range.
Fantastic, wonderful. Look, thank you so much for giving us a brief
Pleasure.
rundown on the history of Smeg. Now let's take a look at the induction cooktop and learn a little bit more about the benefits of using induction.
Yep, let's have a look at this. Let's turn it on.
Great. It's a nice touch screen here.
It's very clean, makes it very easy to use. Before we go any further, what I'd like to actually mention, one of the biggest things that people have is with induction is they have a fear that the pots won't work on their new induction cooktop. All you need is a simple fridge magnet. If that sticks on there, it's going to work. Simple as that.
Very easy trick to do.
It is, very much so.
So you don't have to go out and buy new pots, you can simply use those ones.
Exactly,
Excellent.
exactly.
And can you tell us a little bit more about how it cooks?
Okay. The induction cooktop cooks exactly the same as a normal cooktop, except it can be a lot faster, a lot more ferocious, and it can be a lot more gentle. So you could cook water, 2 litres of water in 4 minutes, or you can have something simmering on the cooktop all day. It can go down as low as 42 degrees. So, you could have a pot of soup on there for the whole day, and people come and taking bits and pieces all day. So it is very gentle as much as very ferocious. If you like, what I can do is I've got some water in here. Let's turn it back on. One of the features of this too is if you turn it on and you don't do anything, it will turn itself off again.
Wow,
so that's
very good for safety.
So this one here, so we'll go there. So that's picked up, that's on that one. And what we do is just with the finger, just scroll around. It's just with the finger, scroll around.
Okay, great. So we can see that it's activated that particular
so
side.
When the P comes up, that's on power boost. So it's actually working very quickly.
Wow.
And as you can see, the water's actually already moving. So there's things happening there already.
How does it actually heat? How does it heat the pot?
Okay, good point. The way induction works is that there is actually a magnet underneath the glass. So in essence, the glass is really only to support the pot. So the magnet underneath shines or has like a rays that go through that actually create a friction on the bottom of the pot. And those frictions are very fast. And what happens is the actual pot becomes the heat source. So the pot itself is heating the water up. So you can see there it's already boiling.
It's already...
A key feature with this as well is if the front, you've got this going, or you might have some fat going, you might be cooking something like that, front door rings, and you go out and see what's going on. What you can do is you can actually press pause.
Okay.
And that pause will hold everything. so it doesn't go any further, so that, you know, if it's your neighbour and you're out there talking for 20 minutes, nothing boils over. Wow. So you come back in and you unpause it, hold your finger on there.
What about if you forget to pause it? There is a feature that it does activate if it does boil over.
Oh yes, safety features, sorry. If you forgot or didn't use the pause, what would happen is that liquids or whatever would boil over onto the top. Now, once the liquid actually touches the parameters of the controls, it will actually turn itself off. So it's like an inbuilt safety mechanism that the cooktop wants to look after itself. So it'll turn it off.
Wow. I mean, that's just something that you can't do with a gas. So they've really thought of everything with the induction.
It really has,
Yeah,
really has.
Excellent. So let's have a look at this pot of water here. It's really heated up quite quickly.
Yep. Well, that's to show you there, only
Already,
a few seconds.
Exactly.
How it's gone.
That's fantastic. Okay. Also, let's chat about some of the benefits in terms of cleaning.
Well, cleaning is really easy with one of these. It's so easy, it's fantastic. Because after you've taken all your pots off, I'll just put these in the sink so they don't, you've actually got a very, very clean or an easy surface to clean. And you can clean that up very well, very, very quickly. It's just either paper towel or, you know, a cloth.
Just wiping it, so much easier than having to pull off all
I've heard stories where people actually put a tea towel over the induction cooktop. Yeah. And they'll put the pot on top of the cooktop and they'll cook
to keep it clean.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Another key feature of having this is you're actually extending your bench. Because this is a nice, clean, flat surface, you've got that much more of your bench top. So you can actually have things sitting on that while you're working and doing things.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Wow, that's amazing. One of the things that I wanted to have a chat with you about as well is the safety feature of, you know, if you've got little kids running around, and obviously you've just turned the induction cooktop off.
Yep. If we do turn it off, what has to happen is you have to literally hold that on. Now, nothing is going to work without pots on it.
Okay.
So you can't turn anything on. You can't turn gas on. You can't turn electricity on. It'll just turn on like that.
So unless you've got a pot on here, then it will activate and the heat will...
Correct, correct. You need to put a pot on it and you need to activate the pot as well. So very, very great, you know, for kid friendly.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. Before we move on to the undermount range hood, there was one key thing that you wanted to talk about with regards to the safety.
Correct. And what that is when you've finished cooking with this cooktop and you take the pot away and you've cleaned everything up, this glass will be warm, obviously, because it's had a hot pot on it. But it won't be burning hot like an electric cooktop or even a gas trivet or anything like that. So you can put your hand on it and touch it, but you'll feel it's very, very hot, so your reflex will take your hand away. Likewise, as we were mentioning before with kids and so forth, that if a child puts his hand on there too, his reflections are going to pull his hand away before it pulls skin or anything like that off. So it is a very good feature. And with that as well is on the control knobs as well, it'll have a H for us people who can see down onto it, that one is hot there. But again, it's not...
It won't burn.
No, it won't.
Yeah, that's a really great feature. Okay, thanks so much, Pete.
No worries.
So one of the interior design features that we do use in our homes is concealing the undermount range hood behind the cabinetry here. So it really maintains that clean lines with the design. Pete, can you tell us a little bit more about the range hood that we've used here?
Yep. Yeah, this range hood is the undermount range hood, the PUM range hood. It has 700 cubic metres of air extraction. One of the biggest concerns that we have with a lot of people is that they don't turn the range hood on. Is they'll do their cooking, they'll have pots boiling away, they'll have steaks frying away, and then all of a sudden they're going to say, oh, gee, we've got to clear this room, and then they turn their range hood on.
I think I'm a culprit of that, yeah.
And it's too late, it's too late. I think what we've got to do is we've got to change our cooking actions. We've got to turn the range hood on. Turn the range hood on one first before you start cooking. And that creates an airflow. And with that airflow, you start cooking away and the air is already drawing the gases and the smoke up into the range hood.
Okay, fantastic.
Best way to use them.
Very good tip.